All right, welcome back everyone to the daily ULTY portfolio update. It's good to be back in the US. I just got back from Vietnam yesterday. I'll give you guys a trip summary in another video or maybe in the newsletter with a lot of photos of my trip. But we've got a lot of ULTY stuff to talk about. Specifically, they've bought some new stocks that look like they're actually good prospects. We're talking Costco, Meta, Salesforce, and Nvidia. They also bought Circle Internet Group, which I'm a little bit more skeptical of. And I don't think I covered it in previous videos, but they now own Lululemon and Celsius Holdings as well. Finally, ULTY sold out of HIMS and NBIS. HIMS they took a big loss on, and NBIS they only held for 4 days, but somehow managed to lose 12% on that stock. So it's a packed episode. Let's get right into it. With the number of holdings is now up to 22. Before it was around 19. Today we had two winners, which were Meta and Costco. 20 losers on the day, so only 9% win rate. The average stock was down 6.45%, and the biggest losers were Cipher Mining and IREN, which are those crypto-related stocks. SoFi was also down 11.86% today, and NewScale down 10%. Rocket Lab and Robinhood down around 8 and 9%. So not a great day for ULTY overall. In fact, let's take a look at the ULTY price chart today, down 3.65% in one day, 422. So we're just probably a dividend or two away from hitting $3, a $3 handle, which is not good. But I do think things might be looking up with these stocks like Costco, Meta, Salesforce, and Nvidia. These were fairly sizable trades. I did the math earlier here, and they spent $357 million on these stocks. On average, it looks like it's around 70 million, 71 million on average. Smallest position being Circle Internet Group, largest being Meta at $76 million. So interesting that they chose to deploy $357 million all in one day. Seems like that's kind of risky, but we'll see how it plays out. Now here's the midweek recap, which is more than midweek, but it's the price on Monday, so the 10th, and the price today. And we see that Cipher Mining since Monday is down 31%, CoreWeave down 28%, NewScale down 27%, IREN 26%, and Circle, which they just bought, so we won't even count that, but Circle is down 23%. The only three that are up are the ones that they've recently acquired, Salesforce and Costco, and Lululemon. I believe, I'm trying to remember when they acquired that. Let's go to the other tracker. Lululemon, they've been placing options trades on Lululemon for a while. But the first buy I saw was 11/11, so Tuesday. So they've captured a little bit of that this week. So yeah, it's been an interesting week for ULTY. As you can see in the 5-day chart, down 6%. Their dividend was also only about 6.5 cents, which is one of the lowest it's been. But that's kind of to be expected as the portfolio or the NAV shrinks, the number of shares shrink, and they just distribute less. Speaking of that shrinking, you can see that from November 3rd to the 13th, they've lost 57 million shares. So 57 million shares have been sold and people have gotten out. Imagine that the average person held, let's call it 2,000 shares. So we'll divide 57 million by 2,000. And we get, here it is, 28,700. So that could be potentially 28,700 people just got out of ULTY entirely. Now, if the average person held only 1,000 shares, that kind of doubles to 57,000 people getting out of ULTY in just 10 days. So interesting numbers there. But let's now take a look at some of the profitability of these options trades that they're putting on. So we can see these are the positions I'm now tracking. Nvidia, we've got Nvidia, Meta, Circle, Costco, and Salesforce. over here. We won't get too much into the profitability because they just put on these trades, but looking at ones that I haven't talked about. All right, so we see that, Lululemon, they're down 1.63%. Stock loss, not too much. Options loss, not too much, but you don't like to see a fund that focuses on options be negative in the options. Now, the weird thing is they've been placing a lot of Lululemon options trades before I even saw that they bought it. They bought it on November 11th, but you can see they have options trades going back way before then. The weird thing is, they're around the 6,000 contracts there, but when they bought it, they had 300,000 shares. Their actual, contracts needed would only be about 3,000 because it's 100 shares per contract. And yeah, it just doesn't quite make sense to me. Maybe something wrong with the holdings that they're posting. Maybe they held it before, but anyways, tracking it to the best of our ability here. Let's look at another one that might be a bit more clear. Celsius, they're up on this one, so it's worth kind of celebrating that win. Let's take a look at the Celsius trade. This one, they've only put on 3 options. They bought Celsius on the 11th, around $48 million into that. They have a covered call on for $46, and they have a put that they bought at $40 and a put that they sold at $44, just collecting that little bit extra of premium. Yeah, and so we see, their put is $40, so they want it to stay in that $40 to $46 range. Average cost per share, $44.36, break even of $42.59, and right now they're trading at $44. So while the stock is down just a little bit for them, they still have 1.5 million of options credit on Celsius. And so these are all the positions that have not been realized. These are all either paper wins or paper losses. But let's take a look at on the realized gains or losses, in this case all losses, how ULTY's been doing. They recently sold out of HIMS. That was today. The stock for them was down 35 million. Options premium, they collected 16.4, so down $19 million overall. For NBIS, they were down 18 million on the stock, up 9.2 million on the options, and took a net loss of 9.1 million. And here's the underlying, trades there. You see they bought it for around $73 million, sold it for $55 million. Their average cost was $113. Their break even was $99, and they sold it at $85. So let's take a look at the NBIS chart. And we see the 5-day chart. They got in on the 11th, and pretty much at that little peak there, they got in, and boom, it just kept falling and falling. And at least they cut their losses, I guess, on this one, but still down 12.37% in just 4 days is a pretty bad trade. They went far below their break-even point, so that was not good to see. And so overall, just looking at it, this is about $134 million just in losses alone. That includes the offsetting option premium. So again, these are my calculations. I grabbed this data from the ULTY website, do my best to double check and triple check it, but it looks like they've lost about 135 million just on these trades alone, those are 8 trades. So pretty bad news and bad trades, bad timing for them. The worst was quantum computing, which was down 22%, but in actuality down 26 million. I don't know what more can be said other than I see a lot of red in here. Options, at least they still made money on it, but it was not enough to counter the huge losses off the stocks. I mean, stock losses were 241 million. So options premium, that was 106 million. So just not enough to offset these losses here. Anyways, that's it for the ULTY portfolio update. There was a lot to get through today. It's not looking great for ULTY. It seems like more and more they're going to hit that $3 mark. I do feel a little bit more positive when they add stocks like Costco to their portfolio because I think that's less volatile and will add some stability. Even Nvidia and Meta and Salesforce, although those are tech stocks, they are larger ones and hopefully can't go down like 14% in one day like Cypher Mining, or even, 31% on the week like Cypher Mining, or 28% on the week like CoreWeave. So I think these will add a little bit more stability, maybe not too much, and they still need to shake out some of these other big names that are dragging them down like CoreWeave. But if they could add 19 more stocks like Costco, yeah, the options income would go down, but hopefully that would add some stability to the NAV. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of these new buys, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.